Hello everyone, and welcome to another Baxter Student Ambassador Program webinar. Presenting for us this morning is Sherry Tan, one of our BSAP finalists from George Brown College. Hi Sherry, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So just before we get started, for anyone viewing today's webinar on the computer, if you have any questions during the presentation, just type them into the Q&A box found in your Zoom toolbar, and those questions will be answered after the presentation has finished. Questions can also be submitted to the chat box. Okay, Sherry, if you'd like to go ahead and share your screen, you can start whenever you're ready.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh. Okay, so good morning everyone. My name is Sherry, and today I will show you how easy it is to sell Go Away Arctic Antarctic trip. So first of all, before I started, there's a culture run in Go Away, and I need you to know we call our client Globetrotters. You can also understand it as global travelers. And I will mention Globetrotters throughout my presentation. So first of all, let me give you a bit of background about Go Away. Go Away was established by Bruce Hodge in 1970, and today it is one of the oldest, largest travel company in North America. We are a leading name in independent, customized, and group travel. Go Away has 5 branches, which its head office right here in Toronto. We want Globetrotters to be more than satisfied with our services because we believe satisfying Globetrotters will become returning Globetrotters, and they will recommending us to their friends and family. So Group Only. Group Only is the exclusive division of Go Away that specializes in planning itineraries and organizing travel arrangement for groups. It has been successful in handling large passenger movement for major world events such as the International Dragon Boat competition in Sydney and the World Police and Fire Games in Adelaide. Our staff must go through extensive specialized training and test it to become qualified travel expert. Senior group coordinator will attend critical trade show in South Pacific, Asia, Africa, Latin America to keep updated on new product. Overall, we want our Globetrotter to make Go Away their one-stop reservation center. So now let's go to the first trip, which is the Arctic trip. Arctic, the word Arctic comes from a Greek word, which means near the bear or northern. So this is a 9 to 10 day trip, depending on your preference of departure day. We're recommending Globetrotter to make a deposit this month since the final payment is required 120 days prior to departure. And our departure day is either on June or July. And this is going to be the route we will take throughout the trip. We will start on Longyearbyen, and then we'll stop our trip at Longyearbyen. So on the first day, Globetrotter will arrive to Longyearbyen in Norway, and they will board the Ocean Adventure cruise to begin their journey. They will dine on board. And this is the beautiful view of Longyearbyen at night. So on the second day, they will arrive to Spitsbergen of Norway. Globetrotter will have their free time to explore the area. At the end of the day, Globetrotter will have dinner on board. So here's a fun fact. Spitsbergen is the name of the main island, whereas Svalbard is the official name of the whole archipelago. On the third day, they will continue to explore the Spitsbergen. They can see everything from the polar flower to the immense glacier. The natural landscape here is just very as the wildlife. On day 4, we'll go through these destinations. First of all is the 14th of July glacier, as you can see in the picture here. It is named after a Baxter Day, and it is an astonishing 16-kilometer long glacier. We will also pass by Smeerenberg, which means Bubbler Town. It is the main base for whaling station in the first half 17th century, which is the period where whaling hunting is still happening along the coastline. We will also pass by Al Jollet, which is known as Bird Mountain. It is one of the most spectacular bird cliffs in Svalbard, and they have approximately 60,000 bird nests. So you can see at the picture here, this is the whale hunting area, Smerenberg. And this is Algelet, the bird nest mountain. So on day 5, our globetrotters will be able to see polar bear and Arctic fox. Polar bear prefer their hunting area is at Hunsons and the towering cliffs of Algelet, which is the bird net cliff. On day 6, we will pass by Pulla Pinton. It is a great area for walrus photography. Coming across them can be quite noisy for many reasons, but mainly because they are mating. On day 7, Globetrotter has many optional outdoor activities such as camping, kayaking, mountaineering, and cross-country skiing. On day 8, on our way back to Longyearbyen, Globetrotter will be able to see tundra. It is beautifully colorful in the summer. The wildflowers is bursting for a taste of sunshine. On day 9, this is where the adventure ends, and Globetrotter will be transferred to the airport for their flight home. Now, we're going to go to the second trip, which is the Antarctic trip. Antarctic in Greek, it means opposite to the Arctic, or also known as opposite to the north. For this trip, we recommend a Globetrotter to make a deposit on July, since the departure day will be on November or December, and this is a 10 days trip. So as you can see here, we will start our departure in Ushuaia. However, we also have another departure destination, which is in Buenos Aires in Argentina. If you choose your departure destination as Buenos Aires, you need to pay an extra of $1,255 per person, because that will be going to the mandatory flight and hotel package for the night that you stay in Buenos Aires. So on day 1, Globetrotter adventure will begin in Ushuaia, the resort town at Tierra del Fuego, the end of the world, the southernmost tip of the South Africa. On this day, Globetrotter will be provided meals by themselves. And this is the beautiful view. So on the second day, we will departure in the late afternoon. We will sail down the Beagle Channel, which transects the Tierra del Fuego archipelago. Breakfast will be provided at the hotel, and we will have dinner on board. On day 3 and 4, we will pass by the Drake Passage. It is important to warn your Globetrotters that there will be potential rough water. It's not all the time. There will be smooth sailing at some time, but it is unpredictable and it is always changing. On day 5 will be the first approach to the Antarctica. Globetrotter will be seeing floating iceberg as well as whale spouts. On day 6 and 7, we will pass by Nico Harbor as well as the Peterman Island, where they can see lots of penguins. And we will also pass by the Plinos Island. On the day 6 and day 7, there will be optional activity just like the other one, which is kayaking with whales or like watching penguins waddling. On day 8 and 9, we will be on our way back home, and we will pass by the Drake Passage. Globetrotter again need to be prepared for rough water. On day 10, we'll be back to Ushuaia. And this is the beautiful view of Ushuaia. So this is the price for the Arctic trip. As you can see here, prices are varied depending on your room choices, such as share, single, or double, as well as either you choose the lower deck cabin or the main deck cabin. As you can see here, the single and the share price are the same. However, it is important to keep in mind that the single room is limited, so it is better to put down the deposit earlier. The Antarctic trip prices is the same as the Arctic trip. Prices are vary based on the room obstructed view, either one window, two window, or no window. So the prices will include things such as daily housekeeping, meals, beverages, all the transfer. We will loan them waterproof boots, or we'll give them free parka if they needed to. We will also give out free coffee, tea, and cocoa throughout the days. All the luggage handling, and it will also include emergency evacuation insurance, which worth up to $500,000 per person. We will also include $150 shipboard credit. However, it does not include the following: international airfare, passport, and visa expenses. We will not be able to help you with the visa process, but we will be able to give you information that you need, but you need to apply the visa by yourself. It will not include arrival or departure taxes by the government, meals ashore unless it's otherwise specified, packages, cancellation, interruption, meal, medical, travel insurance, phone, internet charges, waterproof pants or other gears, overnight accommodation if you decided to arrive days earlier before the departure date, or days you decided to stay after the trip. It will also not including optional adventure activities such as camping or kayaking, as I mentioned before. It is important to remember that for the Arctic trip, we will provide transfer from airport to hotel to ship. However, for the Antarctic trip, we will not provide any transfer for Buenos Aires on day one. So for the deposit and the payment process, GoAway will need to ask you to pay a deposit first for $300 per person. Then by the time we give you a confirmation, you need to put down a second 20% from the final prices. The final payment is required 120 days prior to departure to issue airfare tickets. And so all of the travel document will be received upon final payment. It is important to remember that after book confirm, we will charge a $25 communication fee if you need to change anything, such as you want to change departure days, or like you want to change the name. After a document confirmed, we will charge a minimum administration fee of $50 per change. And it is important to remember that deposit is non-refundable. We also suggest our Globetrotter to book a travel insurance with a cancel for any reason coverage. In case they decided not to travel for any reason, they can cancel and the insurance will cover them. We can suggest a policy that would provide Globetrotter with this coverage. For cancellation process, cancellation need to, if we receive the cancellation 180 days or prior to the departure date, it is all of the payment is refundable. However, we will charge a minimum of $1,250 for administration fee, which is approximately to 1,600 Canadian dollar. If cancellation is received 170 days to 120 days, the deposit is forfeit. If the cancellation occurs less than 120 days prior to departure, all payments are forfeit. If full payment has not yet been received, the full penalty will still apply, and any unpaid balance is due immediately. So to protect Globetrotter from the investment, we highly recommend that they obtain adequate trip cancellation insurance. So here's last few things that I need you to remember. A Globetrotter itinerary does not include hotel accommodation before or after the scheduled itinerary, as I mentioned earlier. The weather condition can always delay our arrival, so it is better to book flexible ticket, and we cannot be held responsible for delays due to unseen circumstances, and we will not be liable for any loss or any act of God. Embracing the unexpected is part of the legacy. When traveling in extreme remote region, the team must allow the sea, the ice, and the weather to guide route and itinerary details. A measure of flexibility is something all of us must bring to a polar expedition. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Sherry. So we'll allow a few minutes for anybody to submit any questions they may have. And once again, you guys can submit questions to either the chat box or the Q&A box, and I can read them out for Sherry. So Sherry, what would you say was the biggest challenge you faced when preparing for this webinar?
I would say that the biggest challenge is that when I ask, because I did contact Go Away to give me more information about the trip, and as you can see here, for the Antarctic trip, we say. You can see that I put it as 10 days because that's what the company gave me. However, when you go on the website, you can see that it's 14 days and it does not match. And I try to get in touch with the company to ask about the differences, but I did not hear anything back. So I decided to stick with what the company gave me through the emails, which is the 10 days one. But once the clients go to the website, and they can see the differences.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And Joanna asks, she says, "Hi, Sherry. What did you learn from researching this unique destination and related products that will help you in industry communications?"
I would say that before this presentation, I have never known that you can travel to the Arctic or the Antarctic, and it's really surprised me. So it's a chance for me to learn more about all the destinations that you can travel around the world, and also I think it is once I learn how to present, because I think that. Because I don't know anything about the destination, and it is hard to represent, to sell a destination that have a rough weather and you don't have much to present to your clients. So you need to show the clients how special the trip is.
Of course, right, thank you. And Joanna also says, "Well done on your organized presentation. What age do you think are the demographics going to this region?"
I believe that the demographic, the target clients for this trip will be people who is about middle age or people who already retired, because this trip is kind of expensive for young people, and I don't think they can afford this trip. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Sherry. It's Ian Stalker. Which of the two trips did you think seemed the most interesting?
I would say that the one that seems interesting to me is the Arctic trip. As you can see that I presented a lot of beautiful scene, especially the Outlet destination, which is, I believe it will be very outstanding. As well, the weather will not be as rough, and they will not have to suffer the rough water, which I mentioned in the Antarctic trip.
Okay, great, thank you.
So I do believe that's it for the questions today, but I'd like to thank everyone that tuned into Sherry's webinar today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. And Sherry, thanks again for your great presentation.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for participating in BSAP 2019, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
You as well. Bye-bye.